FAT, NTFS, and XFAT.
Huh.
Yesterday also I have generated
SMB,
question.
there is a share path. There is there's not a file format. There is a SMB, the file path, right? So there is a storage block. Okay, in an Azure file server, what is it? Format, right? Data format. It is a flat. It won't be having any of the NTFS and FAT kind of. Okay, so you see this SMB, and
Okay.
it
Because
using for the NFS protocols.
okay.
Okay, SMB, which is
Like VMware
huh,
NFS,
correct.
like
It's a
VMware
this
file
since it's
system.
exactly because everything is working on the virtual, right? Have
Yes, yes.
you seen that is in virtual machines when you build the disk is not actual standard format, right? Standard
Oh,
means what? The physical disk is different. The
okay.
physical server
This
you
is
have the
a virtual storage.
the physical server you have that is a standard HDD, right?
Mhm.
And you
Mhm.
have that is an or SSD. And whatever data you put here, this data format is different, correct? It's a physical disk, but the
Okay.
format what you are formatting, the by default you have the NTFS and a
Mhm.
FAT, but anyway that we
Yeah.
are not using the FAT, but by default this is format is NTFS, correct? But the actual data format is you see the standard one, but the same data, your operating system is virtual, your disk is
Mhm.
creating in a virtual. What's going to happening here? This virtual means what? We are all machines we are creating from the Hyper-V, right?
Okay.
The Hyper-V, a file system is what it is there. It is a VHD,
VHD.
virtual hard disk, the file system. Obviously, under this VHD disk, the data, when you talk about the format, it will be NTFS only by default.
Okay.
But the disk file format would be VHD only. But when you're talking about the file share, so the file shares again it comes under for in VHD only by default, correct? But this
Correct.
file share is accessible from the SMB protocol. Okay,
Okay.
so let's me clear this. But as
Because
per the standard physical servers, we won't be having by default under the VM, the file should be NTFS. It should be okay. Now
okay.
now you have built a VM, correct?
Yes.
And you created one disk,
Okay.
right? Operating system disk could be there, right?
Okay. Yes. Yes. Yes.
And this disk format is VHD, correct?
Yes. Yes.
But the operating system file system, what would be there?
NTFS.
NTFS only by default,
Yes. Yes.
right? By default, because it's a Windows
Right.
operating system. And same things
Yes.
you
Yes.
are creating this disk is one of the storage part, correct?
Yes. Yes.
When you go to the disk and you would be seeing the storage. Same things. I have created an Azure storage, right? Azure storage, and I can create a disk here, and I can create a container. I can create
Mhm.
a file share, but ultimately this storage and data is fall under for my Azure, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
always when you talk about the Azure, it is a VHD file format for the data point of view, but accessible point of view from the specially file share, it is comes under for SMB.
Yes.
Okay, and you see this in a virtual, and here we are using the NTFS for the disk, but this file share we using for NFS. How we are using the virtual VMware, right?
Right.
NFS network file system. This protocol we use it.
Right. Right. Right.
Okay, good. So,
Because I am facing a problem when while I am taking the backup. I have
huh,
started the backup on
hmm,
my file
hmm,
share.
hmm.
So it is
On
giving
premises
me
file share on premises or an Azure file share.
no Azure file share.
Okay, huh.
Azure
Backup,
to Azure on file share.
backup you're taking, huh?
Yes, yes, yes.
How do you
Windows image
taking?
back I was taking. I have given the path of file share. So it is giving me it is not compatible with the file share something like that. It,
You can't, sir, you can't. See,
yes.
since we have not covered the backup, right? Don't worry, because we need to create a recovery service vault in Azure.
Okay.
Okay, and you have the file server, you have the on premises here, and you want to copy, you want to keep this is in Azure, that backup, it won't work. This is the file format is different, this file format is different. No, it won't work like that.
Okay.
Okay, it will not, but you have to create a data recovery service vault. Then whatever you have the Azure data here from the, you can take a backup and keep here, right? And you will not be able to copy from the, because this is on premises, and this hard disk format is different, right? And it is a possible if you have the VHD file format. Remember, it is you have Hyper-V, you have a Hyper-V machine in on premises, and you have the VHD file format, then you might be able to take this backup to the Azure, and you can bring this copy when you do the migrations topic, right? So whatever your all VM you want to bring into the Azure platform, right? This has to convert, this format has to convert. Otherwise it won't be supporting, and it is not, it will tell you the compatibility issues.
Okay. Sir, can we transfer VM from Azure to on-premise?
Yeah, you can transfer Azure to
on-premise.
So you can transfer the now what's happening here, right? Azure, you have the VM, and this is your VHD format, right?
Yes.
So your on premises must be having that is in Hyper-V environment that can be able to. Without Hyper-V, you won't be able to access, and you can't do that anything. And from on premises also, whatever you have physical disk must convert to VHD. Remember, must convert to VHD, then you can move into the Azure, vice versa. So the Azure VM, you can.
Will it work properly, sir?
Yeah, it will work, because basically nobody is taking from the Azure to VM, but maximum people taking to the on premises to VM.
Yes.
Right. So because I don't want to make data center, I don't want to make anything in a additional cost for this. Let's move on to the everything in Azure. So whatever your data disk are there, right? All disk must be converted to the VHD, and then you have to follow the steps, and this VHD has to be moved into the Azure. Then you just create the VM, empty VM, and that disk has to be mounted. That disk has to be connected, and then your VM will be get connected. Earlier we discussed how do you connect the disk, right? Your additional disk is created, and how do you attach the disk, detach and attach, we discussed, right? That can be done. Okay, so let's see this, how you wanted to create, we have that is in on premises data. So let me put into this in presentation. So how it should be work, which you're talking about. So I have joined. Thank you. Okay, so now what is the actual concept here we are talking about?
Sorry to interrupt you.
No
thing I want. Sir, while I am copying int pub folder into this file share, it is giving me the error message like the destination drive is not available.
Using azure copy?
No. Without direct, while I'm copy and paste directly. But
copy paste from where to where?
Where to C drive to file share.
C drive to file share.
Yes.
Drive to file share. No, I mean on premises to Azure, or same machine to file share.
No. Azure to file share. Azure to Azure. Like.
Okay.
I have the VM. Azure.
Azure VM. Okay.
Azure VM, and I have attached 1 TB hard drive, file share hard drive. So it is giving me the error message: the destination file is not available. Destination drive is not available.
But have you created? How do you copying that? You cannot copy like that, no?
See, I have copied. Right click, copy, and then paste.
No. You can't do that. You have to do for AZ copy. You whatever you have sourced yesterday we did it, right? You cannot copy paste it like that. This is your VM. How do you copy paste it? This is the one of the file share you created, right? File share created. and this is your destination.
Yes.
And in Azure VM, you have a source, and copy paste, it won't work here. You have to do the agent copy only. Try with this format. Agent copy, you have the iNetPub folder, and you want to do with the destination Azure file server, right? Where we talked about here. Try with this agent copy instead of that is in copy paste manually.
Yes sir, I have tried, but there are if यदि मैं सी ड्राइव से डी ड्राइव में कॉपी करता हूँ तो वो कॉपी हो जाता है, एंड देन डी ड्राइव से फाइल शेयर में कॉपी करता हूँ तब हो जाता है, लेकिन डायरेक्ट सी ड्राइव से फाइल शेयर में नहीं हो रहा है। वन
नहीं
थिंग
होता है वो, you have to use agent copy, no file, but what is the drive name? How do you copy paste? File share में नहीं होता है वो. Can you show me can you share the screen? Can you share the screen?
Give me 1 minute, I will show you.
So meanwhile, I'll design this, for the Azure file server, file sync. So today we will be covering up this, Azure file sync. Not taking, that will completing for the storage part today, and we'll have the monitor and backup and restore. We'll talk about next week.
Okay, how many classes are remaining now?
Two classes. After today's classes, then only backup and restore and monitoring. That's it.
Okay.
Supposed to cover up this today actually, but I have another meeting with the 10:30, so that's needs to be covered up within 1 hour only.
Okay. Next week, I think Saturday.
You're available, right?
Saturday I'm available. Sunday morning, Dubai run is there.
Oh, is it? I'll try to cover up in Saturday itself. We'll have some.
Maybe Sunday after 10 o'clock, I will be available in the morning going for Dubai run.
Okay, then we'll plan it. The whatever timing is there, then we can discuss. Not a problem.
Okay.
Okay, so what we are talking about, this is Paul, you can just get ready with that. Meanwhile, I'll explain this. Okay. Azure, we are talking about file sync. Okay, so what's happening here? Azure file sync means whatever data, say for example, this is my on premises. Okay, this is my on premises, or even Azure VM also, right? Ultimately, the data should simultaneously updating to the Azure portal. So now I have here in one of the VM1 VM. For example, this is my VM1, and in this I have the drive called as a C drive, and I have the D drive. Okay, D drive. Now from this VM1, C and D, whatever data you are copying here, you are updating here, it should get connected to the Azure. This is my Azure portal, Azure environment. Okay, in this Azure environment, we have to we have that by default for the storage account, right? We have created for the storage account. This is my storage account. You must be created storage account, correct? That is my storage account. Okay, this storage account you have created for the one file share example. Okay, file share, and here I need to be, this data should be automatically get updated in the share. But the terminology we have to use in Azure itself, there is a specific service called, okay, in Azure itself, the service, okay, in Azure, the service called, so how we use the storage VM like that, right? It is a Azure file sync. Okay, so this must be created in Azure itself, that is called as a Azure file sync. Okay, you must be created, that is called as a Azure file sync. Now some steps has to be followed properly to connecting between this on-premise server to Azure. This is my Azure file sync. Okay, so once this Azure file sync is created, we have to registered with this VM to Azure File Sync. So Azure File Sync must aware about. So whoever a device is registered, and they can able to connect to the Azure File Sync. From the Azure File Sync, they can able to update the data. So here, the VM what we created one, right? It has to be register. Okay, so register. You can there is options under the file sync. Options are there. You need to registration or register. Okay. So once it is registration done, right? Then you have to process from Azure File Sync to file share. There's a two endpoint actually. Two endpoint in Azure File Sync. One is connected from Azure File Sync. Need to connect to file share. Okay, and to connect to on-premises server. Okay, there is a two endpoint on-prem servers. So it means to connect that you must be created a sync group. Remember, to connecting from Azure File Sync to Azure File Share and on-premises VM, you must create a in Azure File Sync itself, that is called as a sync group. Remember, let me take different color. Okay, that is a sync group. So in this sync group, you have to update two endpoint. Okay, sync group. So in this group, you have to update for these two endpoint from on premises to sync group. Okay, and from file server to sync group. So once it is connected, it will ask you during the sync group configuration, what is your storage account you can update, what is your file server you can update. And again, one more endpoint, it will ask you who is your manager, I mean, who is your VM, which VM it is, and in that which drive you are going to connecting, right? This connectivity must be established. This connection must be created manually in the Azure, right? So once it is done, and make sure wherever your storage account you created, which region, your file sync also must be in a same region. Okay, so it has to be connectivity between those Azure File Sync and storage account. So then only the whatever data you are copying here, right? By default, you have a C drive in a VM, so you need to create an additional drive, or if you want to keep the C drive also, that be possible. But for better understanding, we need to have that is in create a D drive with a small space. Then you keep the data, and this data, the simultaneously it will be get updated to in the file share, right? Is this clear? That this diagram you can modify based on what we are going to configuring here. Okay, so let me show you the first part. What you need to do, I have.
Why the two connection? One is registration and other connection. The red line also required.
This device you told him to in a Azure File Sync, correct? You told him to Azure File Sync here. Under the file sync, you have registered what is a device and what is a VM1, VM2, the name of the machine, right? Now you wanted to sync this data, right? From anyhow, this VM is already under the Azure File Sync. But when you created the sync group, right? This group, you have to connect the two endpoints. One is for VM1 and one is for file share. This group has to be created. We call as a endpoint from the source side and destination side endpoint. This options comes under for Azure, the sync group. There you have the options. That is a file share. Okay, there's another endpoint. I'll show you this point where you will get to know that. Okay, it's simple actually. So first part, we will ready with our VM. Okay, one you have to get ready with the VM1 and create a D drive, right, from the source side. And third point, in Azure, the service called as a, in Azure, you can verify that is in storage account, right? Storage account, and create a file share. If it is already there, keep the existing same, right? And the fourth one is you have to have a Azure. There is a default service called as a Azure file sync. Okay, Azure file sync, enable it. So during the enable, it will tell you that is in for connection, right? You have to download the file from the Azure file sync. In this file, in this Azure file sync, you need to register. Okay, register on-premises device or VM. Okay, so to register, what you need to do, there is a download Azure sync file, and you can copy this. After downloaded, you can install this
That
Azure
is
sync.
on premises, right? As we
Right,
done
right,
yesterday. So
right.
can you just note that one on
Yeah,
premises?
I'm saying that is in after download, you can download to on-premise VM, okay, and install it. And here it will ask your subscription, okay, subscription and storage, okay, a resource group during configurations when you download and installing, right? Install and configuration, it will ask you, okay, where you are going to do this in Azure subscription and resource group, right? And your storage, all details will be getting connected. The moment you complete this process, authentication is going to happening. Okay, this registration is going to be complete. That is called as a registration. So this process will be established. Okay, so this process will be established. Now, once that is in Azure sync is ready in Azure here, Azure file sync is ready, then we need to create for that is called as a sync group. Okay, sync group. Under this sync group, you have two endpoint. Okay, so one is you have number one is for Azure file server, and the second one is your where the data is going to, okay, on premises VM, which is called drive name, right? This has to be processed. Once it is done, then you see this, the whatever the data you are going to copy, and it will be get updated. Okay, well, I can hear. Okay, so you can hear me, right?
Yes, yes, sir. I
What
think there
happened?
was a problem in my internet. That's
Okay,
why there was.
no worries, no worries. Okay, so these steps I have designed this document, I mean this diagram, right? Let's see during the configuration, if any changes is there, we can change it. Okay.
Okay.
So anyhow that we have already created yesterday storage account that we have already in a file share is ready, and we'll create a one VM, and already VM it is there, and we need to create a one D drive, right? Then this steps is most important. How we can configure, we'll see this.
Okay. Sir, I have took the remote of my production server. So may I share? May I share?
Wait. Let me complete, then we can just talk about. I'll give you
Okay.
some time. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Just log into the your portal. portal.azure.com. Let's log into this. Let me power on my machine. VM1. Okay. Virtual machine. Start. Also go to the my storage account. So VMN is ready. It's going to be power on now. Okay, and go to the storage account. So we have created storage account yesterday, Neil Tech storage, and under the file share. Okay, under the file share. Okay, we have created my data, right? And also, as I said, you have to have a the default service called as a Azure file sync. Okay, so you can go home. There is a AZ file sync. Do you see file sync only? Okay, there is a service called as a Azure file sync, right? Click on this Azure file sync. Okay, so this has to be configured. What is asking you? You need to create a resource group, which is storage one, and make sure which you can give the name called sync. Okay, demo underscore storage az sync. Okay, demo Azure sync, and I'm keeping this in a central US. Remember the central US. The storage also verify which okay, which region it is. Storage and your file sync must be in a same location. Okay, this is in central US and file sync is also in a central US. Then create it. Okay, so coming to this here diagram, we just creating the Azure file sync, simple. The service we just enabling, that's it, right? File sync is already there. Let's go to the VM and create a OneDrive D drive. Okay, so go to this VM virtual machine, take this public IP address. So as of now, I have only one drive, correct, in this. So you know that how to create a how to create a new disk, right? Take the public IP address and I'll go to this VM properties, connect server. Okay, and password. Okay, just see. So how many drives we have? That is in temporary drive and C drive. This is file server we have created, but I don't have any additional drive here, right? C, D, and this is a map drive Z drive we created, right? So now here in my diagram, so you can take any of the drive other name, right? The D drive is already for the temporary drive is there. So we can creating additional drive is here. We can use it F drive, okay? F drive. So to do this, what you need to do to creating additional disk in a VM, you can go to the VM. Okay, VM, go to the disk. Go to the disk. Okay. And you can see the data disk. Create a attach new disk. And you can give the data disk. Data disk. And I'm just keeping that is in size of this drive is 4 GB. That's enough. Okay. And apply. The moment you created a new disk, it won't be available for the utilize directly, right? You aware about we discussed this drive should be comes under for unallocated space. We have to create a partition and then you can format with NTFS for file format, then you can utilize it, right? If you go to the drive has been created, correct? If you go to the VM, you won't be able to see the directly. And you need to go to the disk management, disk mgmt.msc. Okay, here you can see this 2 is coming, right? And it must be a unallocated space now.
Sir, should we create it in GPT or MBR? There was 2 options.
GPT comes under for what is the when you have a more than 200 GB, right? That file format would be GPT. So within the 200 GB you have, that is an NTFS only. Okay, just okay. I'm creating for this is as a F drive instead of E, and just take the F drive. Okay, now you can see this NTFS, the by default NTFS. Okay, and just you can see this data drive, right? And next and finish it. So now whatever your data is keeping in this F drive, it should get automatically updated into the my Azure file server, right? Now, so this step is clear. This is done, and Azure file sync is created, and file sync is already there. Now see this under the Azure file sync, what are the options are there? How do you configure the sync group, and how do you register this one? Okay, so go back your portal. Okay, here it is my Azure file sync. See here, this is a sync, right? You can go to resource for this. That name what we given here, demo Azure sync, correct? In this, you can just see this registered servers, right? I don't see the registered server here, right? Nothing is there. What I said in my notepad here, you need to download, right? Azure file sync under this registered server, okay? And download this Azure file sync agent. Okay, download Azure file sync agent, right? Agent. Azure file sync here, register, correct? Register options. From there you need to download Azure file sync and download to where on premises, right? And install it. Now see this, it's redirecting to the portal. You can download this. Take that is in Azure file sync 2019, depends on your operating system, right? And you can use this. I have the 2019 operating system. If you have 2016, 2012 operating system, you can use it. So my machine is in 2019. I believe is my 2019. Let me see this, what operating system it is there. Or 2022, let me see my computer properties.
Windows specification.
2022. Okay, yes. So what you need to do, you have to take a 2022, right? This one, right? And download it. And you need to copy this file to where? In my on-premises VM, which is Azure VM, right? Okay, go to this folder, copy this, and go back to VM, and I'll put into my F drive here my file sync. Okay, and paste it.
ठीक है ना मेरे वाला कर ले मेरे वाला से ले ले सबसे ज्यादा काम करना है
Okay, now during installation and configuration of it will ask you all subscription resource group storage, and you can see that how you wanted to provide. Once this is done, it will be complete the registration part. So you will be seeing this the device right here in the file sync. Here, the one that process done, you will be seeing this name, right? Registered devices. And after that, when you go to the sync group, here you can able to add the two endpoint sync group, right? Well, let me come to this topic. Let's process this in a registered devices. Okay, let's go back and see this. It's copying now. I have to end up with this training 9:25. Okay, it's possible we can complete this. Let's see this. Exactly 9:30. I have one meeting. Actually, so now this has been copied. I need to install and configure. Right. Double click this. Next, as I said, it will ask you to for your user existing. You don't have anything, right? Okay, user macros don't require update now. Okay, so keep the default ready to install and sync agent. Install. It's processing now. Here it will ask you for your account. Okay, then you need to provide account, email ID, and password. It will be get authenticated. Okay, so let me just call this person. Okay, now see this. Okay, this steps is most important. Now click OK. Azure Cloud. And sign in.
What are the other options are showing there?
One more is an Azure governance role, and the multi-cloud one is. But actually, we need for the Azure cloud. Here, right? This one is. Okay, let's come back this in Azure sign in account. This step is very crucial.
Am I audible? Hello, hello.
Can you hear me?
Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sir, which account we can use in this?
Azure account only.
Azure
Now it's
account
coming
means
right here.
who
This
have the
one.
global administrator.
You have logged in, no? Here Azure. This you are logged in right here. This account.
Yes.
And this account only you have created for subscription, and you have created for the Azure account, correct?
Right.
Storage account. Storage account.
Let's say we do have the contributor access of the account. Can we use that one also?
Yeah. But you should be provide access for what contributor on the storage account, correct?
Okay.
In the storage account, you must be mentioned for the that access, and you should be able. But here it won't be right. The now logging, installation, and downloading it, do no need to record any account. But in this step, after installation, which account you wanted to be managed for the storage, that account has to be provided. I'm just taking default one, and which account you want to be having separate as a storage account you created and you made him the contributor, and that user should have that storage access, then he should be able to provide it. Getting?
Okay, sir.
Why it's taking long time? It has the internet, right? Let me see this. We need to just this you need to turn off.
That installation finished or not?
No, just it is taking long time for account options coming, not yet completed. So it should come as a username and password option. Okay.
Just refresh it, sir, once.
Just see sign in. Okay, this is what I was expecting. Okay, let's see this. Can't sign in one. JavaScript required sign in. Your browser either does not provide JavaScript or blocked. Where is this blocked here?